Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityananda. Namaste Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Sunyavadi, Vastajani Shadari. Umagyana Tamrandasya, Yaranjana Shubhakaya, Chakshu Militamina Tasma Sri Gurve. So I want to read to you tonight from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 13. Dhinosmin yata dehe Komaram yovanam jara Tadehantara prakti Dhirastatra namuyati. As the embodied soul continually passes in this body, from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body of death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. A report by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Since every living entity is an individual soul, each is changing his body every moment, manifesting sometimes as a child, sometimes as a youth, and sometimes as an old man. Yet the same spirit soul is there and does not undergo any change. This individual soul finally changes the body of death and transmigrates to another body. And since it is sure to have another body in the next birth, either material or spiritual, there was no cause for lamentation by Arjuna on account of death, neither for Bhishma nor for Drona, for whom he was so much concerned. Rather, he should rejoice for their changing bodies, from old ones to new ones, thereby rejuvenating their energy. Such changes of body account for varieties of enjoyment or suffering according to one's work in life. So Bhishma and Drona, being noble souls, were surely going to have spiritual bodies in the next life, or at least life in heavenly bodies, for superior enjoyment of material existence. So in either case, there was no cause of lamentation. Any man who has perfect knowledge of the constitution of the individual soul, the super soul, and nature, both material and spiritual, is called a dhira, or a most sober man. Such a man is never deluded by the change of bodies. So here, in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna chastises his disciple Arjuna for lamenting over the loss of life about to happen on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He chastises him. He says, Anarya, you are not civilized. So this lack of civilization, this means lack of Vedic civilization, lack of Vedic knowledge. In the West, Srila Prabhupada was once interviewed by a reporter. The reporter asked Srila Prabhupada, what is the difference between East and West? Prabhupada said that in the West, the biggest professor thinks that when this body is finished, life is finished. But in the East, even the humblest, simplest man knows that when this body is finished, the soul travels to its next body. So this is the difference, Srila Prabhupada explained, between East and West. So Krishna chastises Arjuna you are uncivilized. So this is like all of us here in the West. Srila Prabhupada once went on a television show in Florida, and he was making an address, and Srila Prabhupada said, I am so happy to speak to you here. 10,000 miles from civilization. So, Srila Prabhupada was living in Radha Damodar Mandir in Vrindavan. But he had received the order from his spiritual master to preach the message of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the West, and specifically in the English language. So although Radha Damodar Mandir, this is the temple of Srila Jiva Goswami, this is one of the most revered holy places anywhere on this planet, and Prabhupada had permanent rooms there. So we could say that Prabhupada was already completely in Vaikuntha, but he didn't consider for his own comfort, even though he was at a very advanced age. He came to New York City, Srila Prabhupada was 69 years old. So his purpose is to bring Krishna consciousness to everyone, all around the world. Ritiviti Achay Nagaradi Gravas, Vachapachar Haibe, Morana. So, very fortunate to be surrounded by so many pundits tonight. And, so, when I asked Srila Prabhupada for permission to open a temple on Long Island, Srila Prabhupada replied, our policy is to open a temple in every town and village. So Srila Prabhupada paraphrased this verse that I just quoted. Even Connecticut, we can have this. So, the Temple of Krishna is like the diplomatic mission from Vaikuntha. Like a diplomatic mission in Vaikuntha. So as you may know, if you need a visa, you have to go to the Indian Embassy in Manhattan. When you go inside the door, you're not legally anymore in the United States. You are legally in India. Only the laws of India apply inside the embassy. This is the rule of the diplomatic mission. So, when Srila Prabhupada came to New York in 1973, we greeted him at the airport, and when he came to the Brooklyn Temple, it was a tremendous kirtan. There were hundreds of disciples there. Now, at that time, there was, in all of ISKCON, I only saw one Indian-born disciple. That was Gopal Krishna Maharaj. He lived across the street from the Brooklyn Temple. He was so staunch. He came every day Mangalarti Chaitanya Chapel with his brahmacharis, and very, very serious. So there's a tremendous, but hundreds of devotees had come from all around North America to be with Srila Prabhupada. It was a tremendous kirtan. Prabhupada came into the temple and he offered a full dandavats to Radha Govinda. And then Prabhupada sat on the Vyasasana. And the kirtan, when the kirtan ended, Srila Prabhupada looked around, he smiled, he said, so this is not Brooklyn. This is Vaikuntha. So, this is the purpose of Srila Prabhupada's mission, to open a diplomatic embassy from Vaikuntha in every town. Every town. Exactly. Even Connecticut. So, we have one, my godbrother has a temple in Connecticut, Hartford. I don't know if you've had a chance to know. So, my God, Brother Pierre and Mom, probably. So, this is the difference between East and West. Still, because we are not perfectly spiritually realized, we feel attachment to this body. We feel attachment to our wife, our children, our place of birth. And due to that attachment, we feel great pain when all of this has to end. But this is the reality, the cruelest part of material reality. Everything is temporary. Everything that we have, we must lose. First, we're suffering because we're alone. And where will we find the person that we love? We're searching. Then we may find that person. We may have a beautiful family. But tragedy is waiting. Tragedy is waiting for us. My good wife asks me regularly, who will pass away first? You or me? So she's there to remind me. I don't take offense. I understand. This is helping me philosophically. But my point is that even if we have a beautiful family, even if we have a beautiful career, even if we have beautiful children, all that will end. That must end by definition. Must end. The Vedas, there's two words, Sat and Asat. Sat means true, and Asat means false. But Sat also means eternal, and Asat means temporary. So at the present time, we are accepting something temporary as real. This is contrary to the knowledge of the Vedas. Only that which is permanent, only that which is eternal is real. The Vedas compare this life to be like a dream. Because when we're having a dream, the dream is real. Sometimes my good wife, she is chastising me. Why are you screaming? Are you sleeping? Why do you jump out of the bed? Because while the dream is happening, it's real. We're genuinely frightened. We're genuinely suffering in the dream. It's temporary. As soon as we wake up, it's gone. So this life is also temporary. It's like a long dream. After some period of time, that will also be completely gone. No one knows anymore my great-great-grandfather. No one knows my great-great-grandmother. Just like they never existed. We don't know their names. We don't know where they lived. We don't know when they came to the United States. At least 150, 170 years ago. But no person today knows who they are. On my grandmother's side, they came more than 250 years ago. We don't know their names. We don't know where they came. So it's just like they never existed. So this is the reality of material existence. For Krishna, the purpose of Bhagavad Gita is to bring us to the Sat platform. The Sat platform. One of our scriptures, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. The meaning is the activities of the soul in liberated condition. So when we study the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, this is the activities of the soul in liberated condition. So in this lifetime, we can completely experience on the Sat platform are following in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So they wore tilak like this gentleman. They played mridanga like this mridanga. They chanted and danced and lost themselves in the transit of ecstasy of the holy name. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is the message of Bhagavad Gita of Srila Prabhupada. We must come to the spiritual planet because everything else we're experiencing here within the material world, that will be gone. So this sad time, we're coming together, our close friends, devotees of Krishna, they suffered the loss of a dear family member. But this is something which cannot be stopped. Cannot be stopped. In the verse I read, Krishna says, Tirastachanamuyati. The self-realized person is unaffected by these changes of body. Unaffected by these changes of body. So this is for those, when we completely come to full spiritual realization, then we'll be completely unaffected by everything within the material world. As long as we maintain our material attachments, we have to suffer some within the material world. So we're here to give our love and support to these devotees, but at the same time, we shouldn't think that this is something unusual or something that will not happen to us. We should be thinking carefully. This human form of life has one great quality, that we have the opportunity to pursue self-realization and to transcend this material world. So whatever time we have on this planet, that is the proper use of our human form and our human life. So thank you all for your patience.
Thank you very much.
Coming tonight.
Thank you very much, Adarshi Prabhu.